Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a get ready with me and I'm going to talk about our vacation because we did recently come back from a cruise. We stopped at 4 different ports, so I was going to kind of talk about how our cruise went as I put my makeup on. So I already have like a base on my face. That sounds funny. So I already have like my foundation and my primer and everything on. I am testing out a foundation right now. I don't like it, so I don't know if you can tell it or not, but like it shows every single pore. It shows like my lines on my face and I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And I forgot to bring my sponge, so that's awesome. I forgot my sponge, so we're just gonna have to tap that in with our fingers. But this foundation I'm not in love with. I don't know if you can tell it or not, but it just doesn't look that good on my skin. So I mean, it's a good color. I think it looks like it's a good color. It could be wrong, but either way I just don't think it's a foundation for me. It's a little bit tacky as well. So let's get into this and we're going to talk about the trip that we went on. So I'm going to be using my Natasha Denona. This is the Sunrise palette, so I thought we'd use that today because that is the product that I shopped in my stash. And for primer for my eyelids, you know what? I don't think I picked one, did I? No, I didn't. I didn't pick a primer. So we're just going to use my Urban Decay Naked Skin concealer, use that for my primer for my lids. I do already have one brow done as well, so and that's when I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, I need to film a get ready with me. What are you doing? You need to do that. So I did one brow and then stopped. So anyway, on our trip, we did drive all the way to Florida. So we typically drive to Florida when we're going to do a cruise just because we take a lot of stuff, or at least I take a lot of stuff. So in that way there, if you go on a plane, I know you have to like limits on what you can take. And that way there, we can take whatever we want to, or whatever I can at least put into a suitcase. And believe me, my suitcase was extremely heavy. I did overpack, but I mean, that's me. I always overpack for trips. I don't know why, but that's just something that I do. So I did overpack, but I did use probably about, I'd say 80% of the items that I took with me, which is better than normal. But anyway, so we drove to Florida. So we did a couple stops in between. We did stop, our first stop was in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So we stopped in South Carolina and we stayed there for the night. And then our next stop was, I think it was St. Augustine. Was it St. Augustine? Yeah, St. Augustine, Florida. So we stopped in St. Augustine, Florida, and we stayed at a hotel there, and that hotel was spectacular. If I have any like pictures or anything of the hotel, I will insert any kind of footage that I can give you guys for this trip. But anyway, we stopped at that hotel and it was absolutely amazing. We were close to the beach. We walked up and down the strip near the St. Augustine area, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. So I really loved being there, and we went to a place called, I think it was called Ron John Surf Shop. Was that where we went there? I'm getting a little bit confused, to be honest with you guys. I don't know why, but for some reason it all starts to blur together. After you've come off of a trip, it's like, okay, which place did we do what? I don't remember now. So this palette, the Natasha Denona palette, doesn't really have a color to set my lids with. So I'm going to go in with my setting powder and set my lids with that. It'll work. So I'm going to use my Becca Undereye Brightening setting powder. Just going to tap into that. So anyway, we went there and stayed, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. I love Florida. My goal is to one day live in Florida. I just love being in Florida. I think the weather there is just absolutely amazing. I know some people that live in Florida are like, no, it's really, really hot here. But I love the heat. Honestly, it does not faze me one bit. I love being hot. I would much rather be hot than be cold. I love that their winters are a lot more milder than Virginia winters. Virginia winters are extremely cold, so I really like the area in Florida. So anyway, we stopped there, and then the next day we went, like, it was like a 2-hour drive, and we drove to, oh my gosh, what is it called? We drove to the Port Canaveral area, but we stayed at Cocoa Beach. So we stayed at Cocoa Beach, and at Cocoa Beach, I really like that area and everything, but I feel like it's a little bit, I don't know, like, I feel like they have some catching up to do as far as things that they need to get in that area. But I think that area got mostly famous because of the port. So the port is right near there. So when you're getting onto a cruise ship, that is a really good area to stay in. So I'm going into this one. I'm going to use, what does that say? Morgan? I thought it said moron. I'm like, what? It's Morgan. So we're going to use Morgan for going into my crease here. So anyway, we stayed there, and then the next morning we got up and we got onto the ship. So we got onto the ship around 3 o'clock. So we ended up leaving to get onto the ship kind of early because you don't want to be late getting on. No, we had to be there at 12. I'm lying. The ship like started leaving at 3, so we had to be there at 12. So anyway, we got onto the ship, and then of course, you do your whole little castaway and everything. They do the castaway party, which honestly, we did it the first, I think maybe 2 times, the castaway party and everything. But after that, it just gets so hectic. I don't really do the castaway parties anymore because I feel like they're just a little bit chaotic and there's so many people, and I get a little bit claustrophobic and I get a little bit like, oh my gosh, like there's too many people here. I don't like that feeling. So anyway, we ended up going to our rooms. We got our rooms around, I think it was right before we started moving. We got our rooms. So when they tell you typically get your rooms like a little bit later, that is true. You will not get your rooms immediately when you get onto the ship. It'll be a little while. I think we got our rooms around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. I think it might have been 2 o'clock we got our rooms. So we got our rooms, and then we had 2 separate rooms for myself and my husband. We had a room together, and then my 2 sons had a room together, but our rooms were not adjoining to where the doors connected. However, like if you went out into the patio area, they did open our doors up on the patio area so that we could go in and out through our back doors, or our patio doors, I guess you could say. We could go through those and like go into each other's rooms and kind of hang out together. So then it makes it more like a family experience, which I totally recommend. If you guys are splitting up and doing different rooms in your family, definitely get one where you can either open the back deck or your patio area, open that patio area up so that it extends it so it's one just big patio, or get one that actually has a room that is adjoined. So you can get them where the doors are adjoined. We ended up staying this time on the very back of the boat, which we've never stayed before. So we stayed on the 5th floor on the very back of the boat, and we had a pretty large size deck, which was nice because the decks to me is what kind of makes the cruise. You go out on the deck when you're cruising, you can go onto the deck when you've ported, so when you're at the docks in different places you can take really fantastic pictures. I know some people do like the inside areas. I don't really like those just because I am a little claustrophobic, so for me, if there's no window whatsoever, I would not like that. But anyway, we typically do stay like with a room that has like a patio area. So that's what we had. We had a patio area. Make sure you guys are in frame here. I feel like you're not. Okay, so anyway, we stayed with that one. And then now I'm going to go into Jasper. So I'm going to show you Jasper here. So I'm going into that. So our room was there, and then that was great because it was close to, because we were on the, were we on the 5th or 6th floor? I think we were on the 6th floor because we could go down 1 floor. So we were on the 6th floor. Okay, I lied. So we were on the 6th floor, and then you could go down 1 floor and you're on the, I think it's called the mid section. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but I just know that's where a lot of things happen. It's where the casino is. It's where like a lot of the shops are. A lot of stuff happens on the 5th floor. So if you're on the 6th floor, it's really cool. However, I will tell you guys, if you do stay on the 6th floor, which is above all the things that are exciting below it, make sure you check what's right below your room. We didn't realize there was a dance area right below our room. So every night up until 12 o'clock, every single night, all you could hear was like the bass thumping from the music playing, and it was extremely loud, and it was like you couldn't sleep through that. There was no way possible you could sleep through that. So, and we had to be up early for a lot of our ports that we were getting off, so it was kind of hard to do, like trying to get to sleep and everything at nighttime. So that did kind of suck. But just make sure that if you stay on a cruise, make sure you check exactly what's below you, what's above you. I've heard that staying in a room that's below a pool is another bad idea because the pool area is extremely busy as well. We typically stay on the spa area, like the spa deck, and that's very quiet because it's a spa, so it's supposed to be very peaceful and tranquil. So it's a very tranquil deck. So we typically stay there, but this year we thought we'd change it up, and unfortunately we didn't pay attention to what was below us. So anyway, it was good. It was a really, really good trip. So the first day on the boat, we ended up cruising the whole day. You cruise for 1 day, and then the next day we cruised. So Saturday we cruised like for the amount of time we left the port, which was 3. And then Sunday we cruised all day long. So on the boat you can do different things. They have all kinds of restaurants you can eat at. We ended up booking for the first night we were on the boat. We booked us to eat at a Italian restaurant. So that was really nice. The other thing is, I will tell you guys, the Italian restaurant, I don't know what it is about the location of that restaurant, but for some reason when you're in that restaurant you feel a lot of motion from the boat, and then all of a sudden you'll start feeling kind of nauseous, and it's hot for some reason. That room is very, very hot for some reason, and I don't know why. But either way, every time we've ever eaten in that Italian restaurant, that happens. And I think we just need to learn not to eat there anymore, because it is one that you have to pay a little bit extra for. So it's not like included. So you have to pay a little bit extra, but then you get anything you want off the menu, and it's all like you can get as much as you want off the menu. but you do have to pay a little bit extra to get that one. I'm using right now Cornelian. So anyway, you do have to pay a little bit extra to go to that. But that was our first night we ate. And then this next night we decided we would just go to our reservations, which you can do the anytime eating or you can do like the scheduled plans. So we usually do the anytime. So basically when you do that on your phone, you will download like the Carnival app. And if you download the Hub app, then it'll give you a place where you can book your reservation and it'll tell you when your table's ready. So that's really cool that they do that. So I like the anytime eating. That way there, whenever we feel like we're hungry, we can just kind of like book our reservation and go down and eat. And you don't feel like you're pressured into eating at any certain time every single day. Especially like for days that you're getting off the boat, your schedule times can be like at 6 o'clock and you're getting back on the boat at 5. And that's just hard to do, to get ready to go eat. And then, you know what I'm saying? Because typically you want to take a shower and everything after you've been out on a port all day. So anyway, that's nice to pick it that way, to do it. So right there, I'm going to move around a little bit here. I feel like there we go. That's a little better. I feel like the anytime eating is the best in my opinion, just because like I said, I think that you can choose when you want to eat and then you can kind of cater it to your family. So I just really enjoy it that way. But anyway, when you go in there though, I will warn you, it takes a long time. Like the eating in the dining area is extremely slow, and I don't know why they're so slow, but it is very slow. I'm sure it's just because it's extremely busy is why it's so slow. I'm using the Kat Von D. This is the brow struck. So I'm using this. I already have it on this brow, so we're just going to finish it up on this brow. And I'm using my new Tetris times Ipsy brush here. So the trip, like I said, like when you're going in there to eat, you want to make sure that you allow proper time to be in there, because you're going to be in there for quite a long time. It's at least about an hour or so. Sometimes about an hour and a half. One night I think we were in there for almost 2 hours trying to get our food, get our dinner and everything. And just getting somebody's attention is a little hard sometimes because they're so busy. The dining halls are very, very packed. And there are other places you can eat. Like I said, you can pay a little bit more and eat at different places. Like they have a steakhouse you can go eat at. They have, you can go up to the buffet. You can do buffet. You can do, I know there's other places. Of course, the Italian place. I don't know. There's plenty of other places you can eat at. But we just kept going back to either the main dining so that we would do the anytime eating, and we did do buffet one night. I think we did buffet one night just because we were exhausted and we're like, we don't really want to deal with sitting down and trying to do all this. So we just went and got something and took it back to our room and ate on our patio. So we had like a nice ocean view while we were eating. So anyway, our first port, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm going to have to look this up on my phone to remember exactly which ports were first, but I'm pretty sure the first one was Cozumel. So Cozumel, we stopped there in Mexico, and that was really nice. I love Mexico though, so I really want to go back. We have done an exclusive trip to Mexico before. We flew to Mexico and stayed, and it was beautiful. We stayed at this place called the Iberostar. So if you guys ever like want to book places, Iberostar is very nice. It's a nice resort, so definitely check into those. But anyway, we got off in Mexico, and that was really nice. It was just a fun day. Let me look back on my phone, because even after doing it all, but to be honest with you guys, you kind of forget after a little while. You're like, what did we do that day? So if I look back on my phone, then I can tell you exactly what we did that day. That'll make it easier for me to kind of recall. Oh gosh. Do you guys ever do that? Like try to scroll through your pictures and then you go like so fast. Then now it's like all the way back to the beginning of the year, because I keep every picture on my phone. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but that's all right. Okay, so let's scroll back here to our first port, which was, like I said, Cozumel. And I'm trying to remember what we did though, because I'm pretty sure we booked an excursion on some of the different islands, but most of them we did not. We just kind of did whatever we wanted to. So let me see here. Okay, so Sunday was Father's Day, so we did celebrate Father's Day with my husband on the boat on Sunday, and then Monday was our first time off of the boat. So Monday, like I said, we got off in Cozumel, and in Cozumel, we ended up walking around the city. Let me see. Oh, we walked a lot, actually. We walked a whole lot. So my sons and I, we ended up walking a ton because my husband wanted to go have a massage done. So we walked around the city like a ton. So we walked through the back parts of it and everything. I'm going to see if I can find some pictures to pop up here and show you. We saw this really beautiful area right here. That is just gorgeous. And then it was just a really fun place. Now they did have some things. It seemed like Mexico was very anti-Trump. So if you are someone who you adore Trump, then you're not going to like what I'm getting ready to show you. They had some shirts and stuff that were not very Trump friendly. So here's this one they had that says, keep calm, you're on the fun side of the Trump's wall, and that's in Cozumel. And then there were just some very inappropriate ones that I won't put up. But they had some very inappropriate things about Trump. So we did end up stopping. They had a Starbucks as well at the area. So I did go to the Starbucks, which was delicious. So I think we had to, on that one, did we go directly off? Yeah, we went directly off. So that was really nice. So then the next day we go to, hang on. We are in the Caribbean. It says, we know we're in the Caribbean, but where are we? We are in Belize. So the next day we went to Belize. So Tuesday we were in Belize. And Belize was really nice except for their, it was so hot. It was extremely, extremely hot that day. And I remember I felt like I was melting. I was like, and I just said that I really like the heat, but goodness gracious, it was extremely hot there. And while we're in Belize, we ended up doing a little bit of shopping. We ended up going on an excursion, actually. That was where we did do an excursion, and we got to go to different rum factories, so that was pretty cool. We went to, there was this lady who was selling fruit along the side of the road, and she had some really delicious looking fruit. I'll see if I can show you her fruit. Her fruit looks so amazing. Some of the people on the bus that we were on, they did get some of the fruit from her. She was charging just a small amount, so you could taste her fruit and everything. And she was such a beautiful lady. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I have a picture of her herself. Let me see if I do. I don't think I do. But she was so beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh. She had the most beautiful eyes. But anyway, we went to that, like the fruit stand. Then we went to the rum factory. Then we went to, oh my gosh, where else did we go to? We went to, oh my gosh, it was just, honestly, you kind of start to forget. We did go to, all around the city. So we got to do a tour of Belize. So when they did the tour, they showed us like the president's house and everything like that, which honestly, I was like a little surprised how not good it was. Like everything was just kind of run down looking. Even the houses that were like the president, there was some guy that he showed us that was evidently he got shipped there after an incident that happened with J-Lo. So he lives there now. But anyway, it was just a very interesting area because it just seemed like I don't know, it was very, I'm going to use Awakening. It just seemed like they were very, you could tell it was you were definitely in a third world country. You could definitely tell that. And I don't mean to say that and sound negative or anything like that. It just, I felt so sorry for a lot of the people there. I was like, oh my gosh. Like we went past the schools and the schools were very simple. Everything was just very simplistic there. So it was beautiful, but it was just very simplistic. And I don't know, it made me feel like sad for them. So that was it was a fun experience, and I didn't feel unsafe at all. Cause I remember before going, I remember thinking that Belize was going to be unsafe because there are some areas in like different countries that are not very safe to travel to. And that one and Honduras were the ones that I was super afraid of. But we had a great time. I mean, I think a lot of it helped that we ended up booking an excursion and going with a guide, and the guide really helped make us feel like safe. So that was nice. So anyway, the next day, so then we get back on the boat and everything after our excursion's over. Then the next day we go to Honduras. So in Honduras, when we go there, there is no port for you to actually dock at. So what they do is they'll get you off and they'll put you on a boat. And then you take that smaller boat into the island. So you can't, your boat is actually just anchored out at sea. So the ship is anchored out at sea. Then you get on a smaller boat and they take you to the island. And the island that you're actually going to is not actually, it is Honduras. However, it's called Roatan, I think is how they pronounce it. It's R-O-A-T-A-N, tan, I was going to say. So we went to that island and it was really, really beautiful. But I mean, a lot of it, again, you could tell you were definitely in a third world country. So I'm using my bronzer. This is the Revolution, and this is in the shade Mega Bronze 01 Cool. I just want to bronze up a little bit here. I feel like my skin looks a little bit yellowy, and I think it's this foundation making me look a little bit yellowy. So anyway, we went to that place, and when we were there, I think did we book an excursion there? I can't remember. Let me look at my pictures again. Pretty sure we did, because again, that was another place that I was a little bit leery of. I remember walking around a lot. Oh yes, we did book an excursion. So we booked an excursion to go see the iguanas. So it was another excursion where they kind of took you all around the town. They took you to an iguana farm, which this iguana farm, evidently this lady had started feeding iguanas like a long time ago. And then from the little bit of the, oh my gosh, I just went really bold. From the little bit that she was feeding the iguana population really grew on her property. So then she started inviting her neighbors to help feed these iguanas. So then she opened up this little farm so that you could go visit this place. And it was absolutely beautiful. It was what set up so well. And to be honest with you guys, when I first thought about like touching an iguana, I was like paranoid. I was like, no way, I'm not doing that. And then when we got there and I realized it wasn't so scary. So I first held one, and that was great because holding him was just, I was a little tense, to be honest with you, when I was holding him. I think there's a picture of me holding him, and I was a little scared, and then I got a little bit more used to it. So here's a picture of me holding the iguana. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that very well or not, but there's a picture of me holding the iguana, and he was just really cute. But then we ended up going down a little bit further, and you could see where there were tons of iguanas, tons and tons of iguanas, and all these iguanas are like moving around everywhere, and they were just a little intimidating, to be honest with you, at first. But then once you like got used to it, then you're like, okay, so then you get used to like them moving around your feet and everything, and they would give you some different greenery that you could feed them with. So we were feeding the iguanas, and then you could pet the iguanas, and honestly, the iguanas, I'll be honest with you guys, I think they act like dogs. Like they have a personality of a dog. Like when I was petting the one iguana, he would like, I would rub my hand on his back, and he would like kind of perk up like a dog does when you pet your pet. So he would like perk up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they have personalities. They're so cute. So in the end, I ended up really loving the iguanas. I was like, they're actually really nice and friendly. I wouldn't put my hands near their mouth or anything. I would never suggest for you to do that, but touching the back of them, touching their tails and things like that, totally okay. So they were just really, really cute. And then we left from the iguana farm, and we went to, where did we go? Oh my gosh. Oh, I know. There was this farm, not a farm, but this little roadside stand set up that was selling like different foods. They were selling chicken, and they were selling iguana. I was like, no. So the bus stops, and so anybody who really wanted to taste iguana was allowed to get off the bus and go get yourself some iguana or chicken, whichever you preferred. And they're out of iguana. So I was so thankful that nobody came back on the bus eating iguana, because to me that's just, it's cruel. Here we go petting the iguanas, and then they're getting to a place that you're going to eat the iguanas. I'm like, that's kind of messed up, don't you think? But anyway, so nobody came back on with iguanas. I came back on with some chicken and some rice and stuff like that. So then after that, we go to this place. It's a factory where they make, oh my gosh, what kind of shell is it called? It's called the mother of pearl, I think, maybe? No, it's not the mother of pearl. It's the, oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called. I'll remember, and I'll put it in the description box, or I'll put it in here or something. But anyway, they make different, oh my gosh, I wish I could think of what it's called. But anyway, they make this thing, and then so we stopped there. We didn't really buy anything there because it was really, really expensive. So we didn't buy anything, but we did like check out the area around, and the beach area around there was absolutely gorgeous. So that was really fun to actually go check out all that stuff. And then after that, we got back onto the bus, and I think we headed out. So while we're doing that, the whole time though, you're seeing like around the city, you're seeing everything that they have around the area, and it's just really, really pretty. Oh no, I lied. We didn't leave and go back on the boat yet. So then we ended up stopping at a beach. We went to a beach, and you could pay money to get your food and everything. So the food was not included. However, they did have food there that you could eat. We got to see a dance performed by natives. So that was really cool as well. But there at the beach is where I saw my little friend Loco. So Loco was a little monkey, and you could hold him and everything. The young man that was carrying him around, he was charging you like $5 to hold him and take a picture with him, which I thought was reasonable. So I ended up paying $5 so I could hold him, or not really hold him, but he was up on my shoulder, and he kept trying to steal my earrings out. His little hands were in my ears trying to pull my earrings out, which was hilarious. And then after that, that's when we did go back and get on the boat. So we got on the boat and left from there. And then our very last port that we went to was Quintana Roo. That's not right. Where is the last port? Ibiza, no. Where in the world were we at? Ibiza Beach is a place on there. I can't remember what the island was called. What was the island called? Othelon. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. I don't even know what it was called. Quintana Roo, it keeps saying, and I don't think that's the name of the place. I don't think that was where we were at. I think it was called something else. I don't know. It says Othelon Blanco. I don't know. I'll have to figure out where the last port was, because honestly, it doesn't tell me the last port where we went to. And we didn't actually have a picture taken like as we got off the boat. Typically we take a picture when you get off the boat, because when you get off the boat, there's always a photographer standing outside and they'll take a picture showing you which port you're at. And that day we didn't, because we had separated that day. So my husband and my youngest son had gone and done an excursion by themselves. And then my oldest son and I had gone and done an excursion. So on this excursion, it was very interesting. So you had to wear closed-toe shoes, because first of all, you were going to get on a bus and they were going to take you to a jungle. So on a jungle in this island, and then after you get to the jungle, you're going to get on a bicycle, but it's one for two people to ride. What is that called? I can't remember. Either way. So we both got on this bicycle, and my son and I are pedaling through the jungle. And as we're pedaling through the jungle, let me just tell you, make sure you take your sunscreen, or not your sunscreen, but your bug spray, because we got ate up by bugs like crazy. I mean, like literally, at first I had looked down and I thought I had cut myself, and realized, no, that's not a cut. That's a mosquitoes. That's mosquito blood, because there was like blood running down my legs and mosquitoes were just biting me everywhere. So make sure whatever you do, if you ever do that excursion, like I said, I'll figure out which island that one was. Make sure you find out, or make sure you take lots and lots of bug spray. And so at this one, they were allowing people to go into a cenote, in which a cenote basically is a hole in the ground. It's like a sinkhole, and then water fills it in, and then you can go into it. Well, this one, my son immediately told me he's been to a cenote in Chichen Itza, I think is where it was called, Chichen Itza or something like that. He went there, and my husband and him had done a cenote excursion before, and they enjoyed it. But my son said, do not go in this cenote. And I was like, why? So he points behind us, and behind us is this pond that's leaking down into the cenote. And this pond behind us is, I mean, like infested with mosquitoes. Like the entire pond on top was nothing but mosquitoes. He said, don't go in there. So the way that this cenote worked too, you went down into a smaller hole. It was like looked like a hole that you would use for like the roads and stuff like that, or the man covers, whatever they're called. But anyway, you went down into a small hole like that, and then you went under like an area, almost like under a road, and then you come out on the other side. And first of all, I'm claustrophobic, so I wouldn't have done it anyway, but it was just really scary. So I was like, oh my goodness, no, 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 I'm not doing that at all. So anyway, we stood up there, and all these people had gone down into this little cenote, and then they come back out, and then of course all the bug spray they had put on had been washed off from being in the water. So then they're being immediately eaten up by more mosquitoes. So that place is like really bad for mosquitoes. So then we go, after we leave that area, and we bike back to where the bus was. And then as we're biking back to the bus, we, oh my gosh, put too much. As we're biking back after we bike back to the bus, we have lunch. So they have lunch for us set up. They have, chicken fajitas, and they have some fresh fruit. They have all kinds of chips and stuff like that. So it was just a really cool thing. And then all these turkeys start surrounding us, and the turkeys were gobbling and singing to us. And it was kind of funny and cool at the same time. And then when they load everything back up, they do all the loading and everything. They load the bikes back up, and then we go to a beach. And then when we're at the beach, you could learn to paddleboard. And to be honest with you guys, I have really bad knees. Like, I don't know why, but I just do. So I was like a little leery of paddleboarding. So my oldest son, he did paddleboard. So he ended up paddleboarding, and he did a fantastic job. So the way that they teach you to paddleboard is to paddle down the current really, really far, like on your knees, and then stand up and then kind of ride it in. So he did a great job. He did a fantastic job. So then him and I had walked the city a little bit, and we found this place called Ibiza Beach, and I thought that was really cool. It made me think of that song. I took a pill in Ibiza. So anyway, we went there, and then after that we went to a lighthouse, and the lighthouse was really, really beautiful. Let me see if I can show you some pictures from that whole trip. So here is the cenote. So my son and I are laughing our tails off because everybody else is getting eaten by mosquitoes because they went into the cenote, and we were smart enough not to go in the cenote. I don't know if you can see the cenote. Sorry about that, guys. My camera cut off, and the way that my new camera is set up, I have to keep kind of like a mirror behind it so I know that it's actually filming, and I didn't realize it had stopped filming for a little bit. So anyway, I was talking about the cenote. After we left the cenote, we went to the beach, and at the beach we got to learn to, my son got to learn to paddleboard. So you could learn to paddleboard and everything, and that was really cool as well. So after paddleboarding, we walked the city a little bit, and then we found this one place. It was called Ibiza Sunset. So it reminded me of that song. So here's what it looks like. There's Ibiza Sunset. It's really beautiful. I'll try to like maybe do a video specifically on all the pictures and stuff like that if you guys are interested. I don't know if you are or not. I just thought I'd kind of do like a brief summary of it. Then we went to a lighthouse, and the lighthouse was absolutely gorgeous as well. So the lighthouse was beautiful. And my son was talking to our younger guide, and he was telling my son that this beach used to exist, and then they ended up getting a really bad hurricane, and the hurricane kind of washed out the entire island almost. So they're kind of rebuilding it now. So in this island, I'll be honest with you guys, is very highly secured with police. So there's a ton of police around, and I'm not exactly sure why there's so many police, but there was tons of police around. There were even barricades at different places where they had police blocked off areas. The seaweed on this island is extremely thick. So there's tons of seaweed. So they, like where the beach we went to, they had cleared it out that morning, but you can see in different places where the seaweed is piled up. So that seaweed has made the island kind of smell really, really bad. So it smells like a sewage plant. So it does not smell good at all. However, the island itself is beautiful, and it looks like they're doing a great job of trying to rebuild it and like make it better again, which is nice to see. But it was fun. It was a really fun day with my son. I enjoyed it very much so. So it was just a great day. And then after that, we got back on the boat, and then we ended up sailing for the rest of that day. We had to get back on the boat by 1 o'clock. So we had to get off really early that morning. So we had to be back on the ship by 1 o'clock. I'm using my Ipsy one. We had to be back on the boat by 1, and then we sailed for the rest of that day, and then we sailed for the following day, which was Friday. We sailed all day Friday, and then Saturday morning we woke up. I remember waking up at like 6 o'clock because I could feel the boat docking, and we were docked in Florida. So the trip was over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's over already? How did this go so fast? It always goes so fast whenever you are going on vacation. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it flies. It extremely flies. So then after we get off the boat there, it takes a little while getting off the boat. So one tip I will give you guys, if you have a lot of luggage, make sure that you do set your luggage out the night before, like they tell you to and everything like that. But also when you're getting off the boat, and you've already finally getting off the boat, make sure you get yourself a porter. So if you get yourself a porter, he will help get you through the crowds, and he'll carry your luggage. He'll have this big thing that he'll carry it all on for you, take it to your vehicle. That's fantastic. Definitely recommend getting a porter if you have a ton of luggage, because lugging around all your luggage is a little bit of a pain in the butt. So anyway, definitely get a porter. So that really helps. And then after that, we drove to South Carolina. So we drove for about 7 hours, I think it was. And we drove to Hilton Head, South Carolina. So it was a place that we've never been before. We stayed at a resort. It was called I think it's like just I think it was like a Hilton resort. I'm not honestly, it was like condos though. The place was absolutely beautiful. I will throw in a little bit of footage for the place. Anything that I have footage for, I'll throw it in for you guys, hopefully. But the place we stayed at was just absolutely gorgeous. Like our room for our master suite had like the TV built into the bathroom sink, which was like so fantastic. I've been to a couple of hotels like that, but it was just really pretty, and the beach there was really gorgeous. So it was just a really fun time, like ending our trip. So we ended up staying there for 2 nights, and then we came home. So it was a long trip, but at the same time, it goes by so quickly. And I'm sure you guys know what I mean. Like if you go on vacation, like you plan for a vacation for so long, and then your vacation comes and goes so quickly that you're like, oh my gosh, it's over. So now I'm just getting back into the swing of things. I did unfortunately get sick after our vacation, so I don't know what happened. I don't know. My son was sick before we went on vacation. My oldest son was, and then my youngest son got sick during vacation, and then I got sick like after vacation. So we all stacked on. My husband has not gotten sick, so he's been the lucky one. But anyway, it was a really fun trip. Any pictures or any video footage, hopefully I can throw in for you guys. I will throw that in. It might not have sound to it or anything, but it'll just be like the video, and that way there you can see what everything looked like. Especially the iguanas. The iguanas was like such a big surprise for me. The only thing that I wish we would have done when we were off in Honduras is, not Honduras, is it Honduras? We went there? Anyway, wherever it was where we saw the iguanas. Yes, it was Honduras. When we were in Roatan, Honduras, I wish we would have gone to see sloths. They do have sloths there that you can go to a farm and you can see them, and apparently they move so slow that even they blink slow. So I was like, dang man, I wish we would have gone to see them because I think they are absolutely adorable. So anyway, that was our trip, and I'm done with my makeup. So my makeup doesn't look fantastic, but it's good enough for me for today. So I hope you guys are having a very wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed my video. Let me know what kind of trips you have planned for this summer with you and your family. I'd love to hear. I'm hoping that we can get in one more small vacation before back to school, because that's what summer's all about, is spending time with your family and doing fun things. So I'm hoping we can do one more small vacation before we go back, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.